closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will be in closed session. We'll be back at 7:30. No action will be taken. Oh, that's right. motion to move back into public session, please? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, all right, we are back in session. Can I have
And then
roll
another
call? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown,
Here.
Ms. Bryan,
Here.
Ms. D'Alessandro,
Here.
Mr. Frias,
Present, yes, here.
Mr. Cohn,
Present.
Mr. Sim, and President Langley.
Here.
We have a quorum to return back.
Thank you. All right, let's all rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Bryan, would you read the mission statement, please?
The River Edge School District is a partnership of students, parents, staff, and community members. We are dedicated to providing a supportive environment in which all students can reach their maximum academic potential while developing as responsible citizens who respect individuality. Our goals will be achieved because curriculum and instruction are aligned with the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. All decisions reflect the academic, social, emotional, and physical needs of pre-K to sixth grade students. Cooperation and ongoing communication exist between the school district and the community. School administrators and the Board of Education work together to assess and adjust procedures in response to new mandates and the changing needs of the community.
Thank you. Open public meetings notice.
Yes. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting, its date, time, and place have been delivered to the post office, municipal building, and the record, and posted on the district's website at least 48 hours prior to the time of this meeting.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item B, the B1 public hearing on the final school budget for 26-27.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry for that delay. I would like to welcome everyone to the presentation of the public hearing, the public as well as the full board. Tonight is the 26-27 final budget for the River Edge Public Schools. On behalf of Dr. Bernice, our superintendent of schools, and myself, we just want to recognize and thank once again everyone who contributed to this budget. This was a massive team effort involving all our board members, the Finance and Facilities Committee members, and our entire leadership team, as well as all of our staff, from our teachers to our administrators, assistants. This is truly a collaborative and extensive process. The budget development process started as early as the end of October. This presentation reflects the same information that was previously shared with the full board during the tentative budget presentation with no changes. However, it is required to be presented during the public hearing. So this is the purpose of the school budget. A school budget is more than just numbers. It is a district's action plan that balances legal compliance and operational support with our strategic alignment and accountability to our taxpayers. The mission statement is a critical component that drives the direction of the district's budget. Another critical component that drives the district's budget is the strategic plan. The strategic plan is a 5-year plan that consists of 5 goals. All 5 goals have a financial impact to the budget, with some of the goals more heavily weighted to the financial components, such as goal number 5. Next, I'll turn it over to Dr. Bernice, our superintendent of schools, as he will take us through the academic successes of our district that our district has achieved, showcasing the real-world impact of the funding we are discussing today.
All right, come up there. Okay, good evening, everybody. I have the pleasure of doing the next 3 slides. Christine Moran presented this last time in such a brilliant way. It's tough to top that, but this is sectioned off into 3 parts. The first part is basically the academic program, right? Curriculum and how we support that curriculum. So it's no secret that we've been shifting our mathematics instruction over the past 2 years. This is now in full swing, and next year we'll be on our own essentially for that professional development. The board over the past 2 years has invested nearly $100,000 in professional development, bringing the pre-K to 6 teachers up to full speed on the Amplify Math program, and it's been going quite well. Even initially, there is always some apprehension to a brand new program, especially after this district has been using the same program for over a dozen years. However, it was time for change, and the committee chose the results of the committee yielded the Desmos Amplify Math, and we moved to that. Insofar as literacy, English language arts has been on a fairly constant, I'll say, shifting ground over the past few years. But I think one thing that is happening here in River Edge very well is that we've been using a kind of like a mixed scanning approach, and there's been a large effort to make sure of the fact that we were employing as many different strategies as we can in the components of reading and writing to ensure the fact that the students were getting a balanced approach to literacy, which of course they are. And then of course professional learning. These are some of our professional developers. We've even doubled down on this in many ways, using title funds to bring in other speakers for both the faculty and community members to come in and engage in conversations. So those education, that's program. If you look at this next slide, these are some of the things that I think make River Edge shine the brightest. And I've often called it a lot of things, but when you pull back the curtain and you wonder, well, why is this school district performing, so well? It's not that big. There's lots of reasons why, and excuses that we can make for not performing well. But when you consider the fact that we're sitting in the number 4 ranked elementary school in the county, I really do believe that these are the things that help River Edge clear hurdles that other districts struggle to clear and knock over time and time again. These after school programs, the G&T programs, and the heavy investment that the district makes in the WIN team is just, I want to say, a testimony to how seriously we take intervention. And I do believe that when the multi-tiered system of supports in this district is held up against any other district's MTSS systems, River Edge will, time and time again, shine as the brightest light on that tree, or star in that constellation, whatever metaphor you'd like to use. We also still and continue to invest in things like STEAM, the Mayo Performing Arts program. We added New Zella this year for a digital resource for teachers. I got to be a judge this year in the final Shark Tank. Thank you, Mrs. Brown, so much for appointing me to that position. And then this year we have invested, and we will continue to invest greater in the coming years in the Oradell River Edge 6th grade partnership, better preparing them to learn together as classmates when they get to Riverdale. And then finally, these are some of the other things that I think we do well. I would like to do some of these things better, insofar as library media, world language. These are 2 programs that we do well, but we certainly could do a lot better. However, with budget constraints and the fact that this is a good budget, I don't think there's a such thing as a great budget anymore in education, and certainly in the state, as we continue to lose state funding, and the state considers us to be overfunded. It's a lot harder to bolster these programs with the staff that we actually need to adequately cover it. So where we do these things well, there is room for improvement. I do believe that having a one-to-one program gives the students the greatest access to digital resources that we possibly can. And over the past few years, we have replaced the antiquated interactive whiteboards in the classrooms and extended the one-to-one program to students and teachers with new stuff last year, especially with the delivery of 700 new Chromebooks to the district, to the tech team's chagrin, but they got them out on time, and everything seems to be working well. And then finally, there are components to River Edge that continues to be slightly different in the manner in which we engage families. I went to the STEAM night. Mr. Langley was there. And there were 120 people who came out after school with their children to hang out and do some pretty nifty little hands-on projects that were STEAM-oriented. So I just don't think you get that anywhere. That's in addition to the math nights that we've been doing and the reading and writing nights that we've been doing. So there are these it's a continuous outreach toward the families who use the public schools to educate their children, and we're constantly reaching out and welcoming them back to school to go ahead and engage in learning activities with their kids. So these are the things that I think are included in this budget, and I think that they are the things that continue to make River Edge shine far brighter than you would expect us to. So, Mr.
Thank you, Bernice. Dr. Bernice. Just to kind of put it into context, as a business administrator, we kind of just see numbers on the paper, but it is true with, testament to see what, that budget and those resources are providing to our students in River Edge. Here's a snapshot of the district. The district's overview defines the scope and scale of the operation that this budget must support. The district operates 2 elementary schools, Cherry Hill Elementary School and Roosevelt Elementary School, and it's roughly staffed by over 235 employees, relating to our full-time, part-time employees, including substitutes, as well as serving roughly about 1,156 students, on-roll students, being taught in district. As far as shared services, we maintain efficiency through these shared services for special education, cooperative purchasing, for supplies, competitive energy services, which is our ACES contract, as well as interlocal agreements, and joint insurance funds, and these all help to manage costs and bring down cost savings to the district. As far as the budget is divided into three distinct funds. First is the general fund of operations. The special revenue fund is for our grants, and our debt service fund is to pay for our bond payments through approved referendums in the past. So I am pleased to announce that the district's 26-27 tentative budget that was presented at last board meeting successfully passed the state's compliance review with no findings noted. Thank you. Thank you. Because the draft met all requirements and there was no internal changes that were necessary that came to light, we are moving forward with the budget exactly as originally proposed at our last board meeting. So this is budget areas of focus to highlight specifically increases and decreases when it comes to taxes, revenues, and expenditures. The overall budget is increasing by approximately $3.08 million. While we see an increase in local taxes and tuition, we are still facing a combined decrease in state and federal aid of over just under $300,000. This budget includes maximizing all revenue sources such as tuition to offset tax levy support and state aid reduction. On the flip side, as far as the expenditures, our primary expenditure drivers is roughly about our $610,000 increase in special education costs and a significant $1.46 million rise in employee benefits. In addition, there is a need to invest in maintenance and capital projects, which is based on the age of our buildings and infrastructure. This budget includes an increase in these areas of roughly $970,000, which is being solely funded from the district's reserve funds with no tax impact. We are currently conducting a thorough evaluation of our capital needs while structuring a financial plan to maximize potential aid and resource allocation for sustainability, which is our strategic goal number 5. Looking at historical trends, state aid has fluctuated significantly over the last decade, trending downward from its peak in 2024. The state aid formula was recently amended in 2018 and phased in over 7 years. Districts receive funding on a per pupil basis, with higher funding levels provided for at-risk students, which is low income, as well as English language learners and special education students. In addition, the state determines the amount of revenue that should be contributed locally, which is considered our local fair share, based on the community's fiscal capacity measured by property values and personal income. The remainder of the revenue, which is considered adequacy budget, is funded by state aid to meet what the budget that the state determines to be adequate. For 26-27, the state has determined that the amount of aid that the River Edge School District should receive is roughly about $1.34 million, a reduction of $1.82 million. District reduction, however, was capped at 3%, and this will be monitored as reductions are projected to for future budgets. And that's what got us to the little over $3 million in state aid, because they capped it. Resident student enrollment has seen a slight decline from 1230 in 2021 to a projected 1108 by 2027. Similarly, the on-roll enrollment shows also a downward trend, and that's projected at 1131 for 2027 fiscal year. In summary, the total operations of this budget year stand at a little over $29 million at $29,159,103. And the first part of the budget is the revenues. So there's pretty much 5 buckets that districts balance their expenditures, with the largest budget bucket being local tax levy, and then the second one comes in as state aid. River Edge does a very nice job based on our level of instruction and special ed programs. We're able to bring in students from other districts, other LEAs, and that's in a form of tuition revenue, as well as related service fees. So here's the general fund revenue analysis. So it shows roughly about 14.1% total revenue increase, largely driven by 1.62 million tax levy increase. In addition, 544,000 in tuition revenue, and nearly 1 million in capital reserve withdrawals. And I just want to point out the 1 million in capital reserve withdrawals was funded from our capital reserve fund to offset those capital projects. And here's basically a pie chart as far as the larger areas. So taxes make up the larger portion of a school district's budget. Same thing with River Edge, it's roughly about 76%. And then the next is state sources, that's state aid, about 12%, followed by tuition. So those are our 3 large revenue-driven streams. On the special revenue side, the fund continues to support Title I through Title IV programs, as well as IDA grants for students with disabilities. These grants are utilized to support current programs and needs, adding value and not supplanting costs from the operation of the district. These grants, Title I through Title IV and IDA, are federally funded. So to be conservative, the district budgeted roughly about 75 to 80% of that grant award. As more funds are, as the final grant award is provided to the districts, typically over the summer and beginning of the school year, we have the ability to appropriate those additional funds by board resolution and to spend down on that grant. In addition, you'll see that there's non-public grants that we do receive. Currently, we're receiving a lot of non-public grants because there is 2 non-public schools in River Edge. So there's a form of textbooks, technology, security. There's a newer grant that started about a couple of years ago, which is STEM. What that is, we're just a pass-through entity, so the state basically acknowledges these non-public schools. The non-public schools go through a process of submitting funding. Based on that approval process, the River Edge as the, LEA, the public school LEA, we basically provide a level of compliance and accountability for spending down these grants, requesting reimbursements from the state. So it's really a pass-through through these non-public schools. It's not a direct impact on the budget per se for resident districts being on roll in River Edge or being sent out of district to a private school for the disabled. The other areas are local grants and donations. And here's the special revenue, the revenue side. So basically, as you see, 26, 27, there's a lot of decreases, and that's based on the anticipated grant award being reduced 75 to 80%. However, there's no, confirmation from the federal government. In addition, those local sources, as you see, same thing with state sources, that was decreased based on the anticipated non-public awards, as well as local sources that we don't have grant agreements and approvals yet. So that's, that's 0. And the last fund is the debt service fund, which you'll see remains pretty stable with a marginal increase of only $125. And as we go later in the presentation, I'll provide a snapshot of when debt is coming off for a tax savings for the residents of River Edge. On the flip side, the appropriations, these are the 4 main areas, which is instruction, support services, capital outlay, and debt service. We categorize these appropriations into these categories based on state compliance. The larger areas is directly tied to the instruction, regular, special education. There's support services. A lot of it is student and instructional related. That supports our special needs students. And then we have our capital outlay to account for our capital projects. and then the debt service. On the general fund appropriations, this is a detailed analysis that shows that while regular instruction spending is down slightly, special education instruction and related services as well as benefits are seeing a major increases, driving the overall budget increase. And just to highlight the special education buckets is the ones that are directly tied to instruction, as well as basic skills or remedial instruction is considered part of special education, as well as related services, extraordinary services, child study team. That's all part of the special education budget. Hold on a second. The capital outlay? That's to account for our capital projects that are supported in our long-range facility plan. The large part of this $1 million is the gym floor replacement and the bleacher replacement at Cherry Hill, in addition with debt service aid. So it's a portion of the debt service assessment that all districts have to pay back in the form of part of the debt service aid. It's debt service assessment. Yep. Salaries and benefits remain our largest investment, accounting for roughly 82% of the total budget, which is pretty consistent with prior year. And as you notice, even with health benefits increasing, the percentage actually decreased. And then this is the special revenue appropriations, which is exactly the same as the revenue side. So as more grants come, we get awarded, we appropriate it, and it hits both sides. And this is the debt service appropriations. So interest on bonds, slight decrease as principal now is being more applied to the debt. So now we'll dive into maintenance and capital projects and equipment and provide an overview of the debt planning for future. So here's some of the maintenance and capital projects just to highlight what the district has done over the past year and as well as going into 26-27. As you notice, the district has completed numerous capital projects and maintenance projects. And I just want to highlight that all these projects have been completed with no tax impact to the taxpayer. So all these projects, there was no tax levy increase that the district needed to do in order to complete these. We were able to do it either through capital reserve, grant funds. Some of it we were able to get PTO donations. So I just want to kind of recognize this board for, strategically identifying, capital needs and managing the capital reserves and budgeting those reserves to properly improve, the facilities of the district. Moving forward into 26-27, we have budgeted for the gym floor and bleacher replacement at Cherry Hill, as well as a new playground at Cherry Hill, and a flooring replacement for 6 classrooms district-wide. So now we'll dive into the long-term debt of bonds. So our long-term debt is structured through 2032, with the total annual payments hovering around $1.4 million for the next several years. There is a significant drop-off in debt payment in 2031-32 as one of the refunding bond is maturing. As far as leases payable, these are short-term commitments. So we don't have too many leases on hand. We have basically 2. It's our postage machines, which we lease out, as well as our copiers, and those are more strategic. Typically, the useful life, they don't, after 5 years of utilizing copiers and postage machines, it doesn't really pay to own, and then, the maintenance cost is really high. So a lot of districts, they'll do a 5-year lease, and then at the end of the 5-year lease, they'll do another 5-year lease to bring in new copiers. Also identifying the needs, because, needs today, and then in 5 years, the copiers might be able to be reduced in size and amount and the number to save money. As far as the tax overview, we'll dive into what this budget, how it impacts our residents of River Edge. So for a home at the average assessed value of about $718,000, The total tax impact of this budget is an increase of $129,000 per year. So if your assessed value has fluctuated from previous years, the tax impact change will fluctuate from 129, with the annual impact remaining constant at 5,681 for the 26 calendar year. The average assessed value for 25 was roughly 675,000. So River Edge is going through an assessment, and I believe it's through a multi-year phase-in. So if your assessed value, you notice, has increased from last year, then obviously the impact might not be 129, depending on how your assessed value changed. If it went up or down, you know, it could be impacted differently. However, you know, there's a form of tax relief that the federal government has provided, and that has increased the state and local tax, which is known as the SALT deduction cap, to $40,000 for single and joint filers, up from $10,000, and that's phased out after 2029 to kind of, you know, help communities that are burdened with, you know, tax levy increases because of the cost of, you know, the cost of living has increased drastically. This provides tax relief, reducing their federal tax liability. So now this is the budget schedule. What's next? So as we sit here, we're at the point of the public hearing, April 29th. Following today's board approval, the budget resolutions will be submitted to the New Jersey Department of Ed County office in Bergen County for the final review. The next step will be to submit the tax levy certification to the borough clerk for sign off, with copies provided to the County Board of Taxation, Borough Tax Assessor, New Jersey Division of Local Government Services, and the Executive County Superintendent of Schools. The district will then work with the borough to finalize the tax levy payment schedule. So how River Edge taxes work is it's basically raised on a calendar year for 26, and then the borough has a calculation of how much of that will be deferred into 2027, and they strategically set the payments, structuring when the debt is coming due. So that will, myself and the borough will work out that schedule, and then that will be presented at the next board meeting for approval. The detailed user-friendly budget data will be available to the public if they want to take a look at it on the district's website within 2 days from tonight. That'll be posted on our district website. And you could also contact myself as well as our superintendent of schools, Dr. Bernice, if you have any questions with, you know, the budget, data. If you need something clarified, please reach out to us. This is our email address. And now I'll open up the floor to the public and to the board for any questions.
Any questions or comments from board members? I think we're good, other than to just say thank you. And that it was a great night. Oh, Miguel, you have something? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to, number one, say thank you, because I know how much work that is to prepare a budget like that. I also want to, one of the things you mentioned was the PTO and their commitment to the district and how much they help with what they do. I also want to commend them on that, because it is a lot of work, and they do a lot of work to help support the district. So thank you to them and to you.
Great. Anybody else? No? All right, awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Seeing as how there aren't any public comments, we'll move on to superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, sir, for that presentation. Really quite good, always. I have a few things for you tonight. We received a letter that I've attached to the public portion, actually, of the superintendent's report from Kimberly Murray, acting assistant commissioner. Our special ed department was subject to tier 1 monitoring over the last, it felt like a long time, but it was about 6 months. And based on the review, no further action is required by the LEA, and this is the letter that I attached that I have in my hand here, confirms the closeout of that evaluation. Every 5 years, districts are subject to basically a desk audit for special education, and we're good. No action plan. Life is good. So I thought
Nice.
the board should know that. That's a lot of work on behalf of the entire child study team and the teachers of special education, and it's commendable. I also have to report on the HIB grading for the district. Now these are last year's grades through the self-assessment. I attached the individual schools grades that are consistent with the district grades. Ultimately, what they break this down into what I call them core elements, right? Which is programs, approaches, and initiatives. And then core element 2, training on the Board of Ed approved policy. Core 3, other staff instruction and programs. Core 4, curriculum and instruction on HIB-related information and skills. Core 5, HIB personnel. Core 6, school-level HIB reporting procedures. And then Core 7, there's actually an 8, HIB investigation procedures. And then Core 8, HIB reporting. So these categories are self-assessed by the school. They're called school safety team, and they're members of the staff that are designated by principals and then myself to be part of the safety team. And then they go through each one of these elements and the related scores, and they go ahead and they self-assess, and then we submit that to the state via homeroom. And they say great. So the district this year is the projected total was 74 over 78, which is fine. That's what's posted to the website. These things have to be posted to the website in the HIB section. So each individual school has their own section. The district scoring is attached to each school, and then the school scoring is attached to that school's individual HIB website. So you can check that out if you'd like. In the end, 74 out of 78 is a very strong score. It appears that perhaps they met 5 times during the school year. We self-assessed at 2 out of 3. We probably could meet more than that. I'm not sure how much more effective that would make the program. These programs are assessed through surveys, parent, teacher, student feedback, and strategic planning survey. We really relied on the strategic planning survey for programs and approaches and initiatives. In future years, without the strategic plan, we might want to be more specific and with more outreach to assess how we're doing, and then we can go ahead and perhaps improve that score slightly. Let's see here, administrators. Their HIB. We didn't get training from the district's attorney last year. We did it separately, but maybe if we did that, it would help improve that individual score. So really very narrow places that we can always room for improvement, of course, but as it's measured, some very narrow things we can do to help improve the score. I don't think I wouldn't be thrilled if we got a perfect score. I think that there's always some way we can improve. That's the HIB reporting for 25-26. That's regulatory. I have to do that. We have to put this date down on our CUSAC evaluation to make sure that we've done that. A couple of other things. The NJSLA is kicking off between now and the next board meeting. We're starting with science, 5th grade science, of course, because only grades 5, 8, and 11 are assessed in science. So Monday, May 4th starts the 5th grade science exam. It's 2 days for Monday and Tuesday. And that's not an adaptive test. We talked about that before, not an adaptive test. We take a break on Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday, reading for grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. That continues on to Friday the 8th, so that wipes out reading. The following week, on Monday, 5/11, there's 90 minutes for writing. Writing is a 90-minute, one section, writing. We take a break on Tuesday. That gives us an opportunity to go ahead and do makeups for any of these. And then Wednesday and Thursday are the math, 75 minutes each. Adaptive tests for both reading and, I don't think writing is adaptive, but for both reading and mathematics, they are adaptive. And then Friday the 15th, we're not testing, but that's another opportunity to try to make up any of those sections of math that we have. We can continue to test in the following week as well, should students be absent. If they continue to be absent through the balance of the testing period, they simply don't get a score, right? We mark them as absent for the testing period, and then we'll get a score. So very exciting time for everybody, students and staff alike. And I like to say we prepare every single day for these exams. Okay. I'll say one more thing about that. These are not the be-all and end-all of education. However, they are the be-all and end-all of how the students and district are I would say, assessed up against standards. We do learning standards assessment all the time, right, almost daily, but the state doesn't get to come in and look at our assessments, right? They don't go ahead and there are benchmark assessments that we do through Linkit. They're not published in the newspaper, right? That's not public information. Those are student records. But this stuff, not at the student level. You need an N of over 20, I think, for any student group. But it does get reported to the state, and it is public. And we'll be talking about these scores in October when they finally release those scores. So I wish everybody their best on these exams coming up. Okay, the last thing I have for you, and I mentioned them in the budget presentation, but one of the things that makes River Ridge kind of unique is the STEAM nights, the reading and writing nights, and then of course the math nights. This year is a unique year because the country is turning 250 years old. We wanted to go ahead and we've been encouraged to go ahead and do this night as well by members of the community. So I went ahead and I asked Mr. Grimshaw, who by the way is certified in social studies and was a history teacher, social studies teacher, to go ahead and build us essentially a social studies night. That first time we've done a social studies night, but that kind of was centralized around America 250. He went ahead and put together a team of quite a few people, and they have activities for the community to come back to school at the Roosevelt Gym tomorrow night, 6 o'clock to 7:30. Hands-on activities, community connections, creative projects, and celebrating America's story. That's happening tomorrow night, Roosevelt, 6 o'clock, social studies night. If it's a success, maybe we'll do it on the 251st birthday of the country. If not, we'll certainly do it this time and see how it goes. In addition to this activity, the River Edge 250 team, which is a borough initiative, has approached the district, and they are going to, in October, they're going to secure, I want to say, static panels that are representative of New Jersey's contribution, I guess, to the Revolutionary War effort and all the things that happened locally. So those panels are going to be picked up by the borough and the America 250, the River Edge 250 committee. They're going to be brought to the River Edge Cultural Center, where we will walk some of our, I think grades 4 and 5 are going to attend at various points during the week when the panels are here. They have to be returned to Trent so they can go somewhere else. It's a traveling museum of sorts. But we are going to go ahead and have, it'll be an approved trip because we have to walk and we're leaving the campus, and that trip will be approved by the board, and then we'll go ahead and have permission slips the whole 9 yards, and then we'll walk the kids over. It should be a real good, a very interesting opportunity because not every district is getting the panels. We are.
Oh.
So.
What's the date? Do we have a date yet?
It'll be throughout this thing's tomorrow night, and then the panels are in October, but it's gonna be throughout the course of a week.
Okay.
And I think we do have those dates. I think it's the second week. I think it's like October 5th to the 10th or something like that. But it'll be on the approved trips list when we do the trip approvals later in the year. That concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Board Secretary report.
Yeah, thank you, President Langley. So I just have a few items to highlight to the public and to the full board. Some of the information is great. So the first item, as part of our strategic goal number 5, which I highlighted in the budget presentation, we're looking to replace our other playground at Cherry Hill. So we received information that the grant that we submitted was approved by the DCA in the amount of $69,200. So, we're taking the necessary steps to try to identify needs and cost savings for the taxpayer. In addition, the board and the district has provided a contribution of roughly $75,000, which is in our 26-27 budget, to support this project. The grant agreement is expected to be presented to the full board for approval at the next board meeting, so that's the next step. So I'm waiting for that. Once I have the grant agreement, we have it approved, and then we can move forward with awarding the contract and doing the project. The next item is health benefit update relating to 2027 premium rate expectations for the full board. As you see in the presentation for the budget, one of the large drivers is health benefits increase that we're projected for next year. So as reflected in the school employees health benefits program mid-year analysis that I was able to receive, there have been key concerns, including ongoing enrollment reductions, pressure on claim stabilization reserves, and increasing costs associated with the New Jersey Educators Health Plan. That was a newer plan that came out, part of Chapter 44. Based on the projections from Aon, which is the state's actuarial consultant, premium increases for 2027 are expected to be in the double-digit range. However, no exact percentage increase has been approved yet. That typically will happen in like August, September. The district will continue to closely monitor these premium rate trends and explore other alternatives. I know Mr. Sim mentioned in the last board meeting, has the district taken steps to see if we could privatize our health benefits and come out of the state, which we have done. However, because of our claims loss ratio, we didn't receive any proposals from the private carriers. But we'll continue to monitor that for any cost savings while still maintaining equal to or better coverage for all employees. The third item, as far as capital maintenance projects, we currently, and this started last year, or maybe actually the year before, there were 2 boiler replacements at Roosevelt and Cherry Hill schools. These projects are in the final phase. So the project's completed, but we're just closing it out with the vendor. It's basically like a punch list. Some of it is reporting. So the architect is in the process of certifying that closeout, and the final payment will follow. Following completion, the district will proceed to submit the project to for ROD grant reimbursement, because those were funded partially by the ROD grant. So we're looking to get that reimbursed back to the district. Roughly, it's about 40% we're looking to get back. Upcoming projects, which I highlighted in the budget presentation, the Cherry Hill Playground, so there's some updates. The Cherry Hill Playground, as I mentioned before, we got grant approval. We're just waiting to receive the grant agreement. Once we sign off on it, we submit it to them and execute the grant agreement, then we can move forward and award the contract to the vendor. As far as the gym floor and bleacher replacement, as well as the flooring replacement at the 6 classrooms between both schools, we had a successful bid opening that occurred April 24th, last week. So there was bidders that submitted it. There is 2 items on the agenda to award the contract to the lowest bidder, and for one of them, it's the second lowest, because the lowest, there was a material defect. So that's G20 and G19 on the agenda. Both projects, there's some asbestos abatement that is required, but we'll strategically, plan accordingly. Funding for the gym floor and bleacher replacement is coming out of capital reserve, which was highlighted in the 26-27 budget, and the flooring replacement for the 6 classrooms is coming out of the maintenance reserve, which is also part of the 26-27 budget. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Any questions, comments?
Question about
Yeah.
the calendar. It's an agenda item, I
Yeah, sure. well, I guess we can discuss it, we have to discuss it when we get to it.
Okay.
When we make, when we make the motion.
Actually, I do, for the contract award, is it, so we're approving both the higher bid and the lower bid?
So, for the gym floor and bleacher replacement, the lowest bid was, found by our attorney, part of the review as being defective. So there's certain items that needed to be submitted.
Okay.
They didn't submit certain items. Because of it, we're gonna be awarding it to the second lowest bidder, which is still reasonable. The price is still reasonable. It's a little bit higher than the lowest bid, but it's not substantial. It's well under the budget, the projection and the budget that the architect had provided.
So 19 is saying approve it for.
So 19 is the lowest one.
19 is.
Yep, 19 is the lowest one for the flooring replacement.
Okay.
G20, as you see in the resolution, it says the lowest vendor.
It's clarifying why.
It's
we're going
clarified.
for
Yep,
that.
yep,
Got it.
yep,
Okay,
yep,
thank you.
yep.
Sorry.
Great, thank you. No other questions? All right, president's report. I did go to the STEAM night the other night. It was fun. It was pre-K through 1? Pre-K through something like that. I was there with my little pre-K-er. She had a ball. She enjoyed it. It was fun. There was a lot of people, actually. It was more people than I expected it to. It was great. All right, the only thing I have on my agenda is I do want to talk about a retreat date. We do need to do that. One of the goals of the retreat, we need to finalize, if we are going to put a question on the ballot sometime in the future, what that list of capital projects, I think we need to agree on what is part of the ask. Like we'll need to finalize that list 12 to 18 months out from anything potentially going on a ballot. So that would be the ultimate goal of the retreat. And I considered throwing in some stuff like Robert's rules, or I think I had some other ideas for just general board education stuff that we could.
Do that big training that you mentioned earlier.
We could do a HIB review. Could do it.
Better.
It's been a while since we've done one of those. We could do a review of HIB. So yeah, certainly. So I think we did evening last time. We used to do Saturdays. You know, my thought was sometime in June, you know, before school got out and vacation started, or we could also probably make July work, although July gets kind of tricky. So I can get some dates together and email them out and see what people think. If anybody has,
There's a program that I have too, that if you select some
like
dates,
Calendly or something like that.
similar to
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
yeah. And that might be an easy way for us to
Yeah.
find a date that
Yes. Yeah.
everyone lands on,
Yep.
or close to, so I can help you do that.
Okay, all right, that would be great. Yeah, that's all I had, because I do think we do need to finalize that list. And I think it'd be good just to get together. But I can't remember when our last retreat was last year at some point. I can't remember when it was. So that's all I have. So I'll be reaching out with some dates. We can get that on the calendar. All right, committee reports, curriculum, instruction.
Curriculum instruction met on April 21st at 4:30 virtually with Mr. Langley, myself, Ms. Brown, and Dr. Bernice. We discussed testing starting next week. Actually, everything I think Dr. Bernice already talked about. The America 250 celebration tomorrow night. We addressed some parent concerns and ongoing staff development. And that really was it. We talked about testing mostly. That's it. Our next meeting will take place May 19th.
Great, thank you. I'll report out for personnel and management. Essentially everything that we discussed was not public, and we did talk about tenure, non-tenure review. And that also met on the same date. And then finance and facilities, I think we covered everything, in the board secretary report. So we did the budget, we talked about the grant awards, the health benefits, can I have a motion for D3, please? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on D3.
Can I have a motion for item E1, please?
That's where I have.
Yeah, we'll do motion second, then we'll discuss.
Okay.
A motion for E1, please?
Move to address item E1 as stated.
To approve-
Second.
approve it? Yeah. Okay, discussion on the calendar?
What was the change for you on? What was the?
There's, as you know, the statutory requirement for school year is 180 days. And we build 3 snow days into the school calendar, which is why at the end, in the original calendar, you end up with three hash mark days essentially that could potentially be school days, but we also could end the year early. In this case, we had to use, there were 2 actual snow emergency days. And then what happened this year was when we made the calendar last year, June 2nd was not on the list. So we're using the 3rd emergency day to have, June 2nd is election day. And we have, unfortunately, there's voting in both of these schools. So for lots of reasons, it's not a good idea to have school that day. And top 3 of those reasons are, one, by having the voting here, it does consume air, right? We use the spaces that we use for voting for lunch, for recess, for God forbid it's not going to snow in June, but if it's raining that day, we need that space, right? And if there's voting booths in there, can't do it. So sheer physical space. These buildings are not big enough to really have an additional activity other than what school is. The second issue, and as a strong supporter of democracy, I want people to be able to actually get here and vote in a timely manner. Parking is so horrific here on any given day. If there's teachers that have to basically park in Oradell and walk to Cherry Hill, it is quite it's a task. So inviting folks to come and vote here during the school day while the entire staff is here and already parked, it just creates a hostile environment for voting. The third thing is it does present a security concern, and we can't barricade the doors. So by inviting strangers into the building while the children are here, that's not something we ever do. And I do not think that doing it on election day, especially in this, as you know, this is not the greatest time in American history for political violence. And I don't necessarily see that happening at a voting location here. However, we're also not allowed to basically bolster security that day. We can't have police haunting the voting sites. That would probably be seen as some kind of voter intimidation or something like that. So it's not something that I'm even open to asking for or doing, and I don't think that the River Edge Police would be open for either. In fact, I think they have rules about how far away from voting locations they really should be, unless there's an issue. For reasons of space, welcoming voters to come and vote here, and then physical security, it's not a good idea to have anyone here, a school employee or student here on election day. In fact, in November, as you know, that's election days. We use it as a professional day. I'm going to continue to keep that a virtual professional day. We've shifted to virtual this year because even though the students aren't here, if the entire staff shows up, we still have parking issue, right? Not to mention it's still a physical security concern. So we shifted to virtual this year, and it was I bounced in and out of the virtual meetings. It was wildly productive, And the staff appreciated not having to come and fight for a parking space while people were also trying to vote. So I think that we've already started to plan that for next year, and that'll continue to be, should it be fine, it'll continue to be a thing moving forward. Sorry.
So some parents have reached out concerned about the fact that the walkout is supposed to happen the last day of school for the for the sixth graders. So is that walkout, clap out still gonna happen that Monday, or are you gonna reschedule the clap out?
So I spoke,
Friday?
yeah, I presented this to principals, and they want to keep it on the last day of school. The staff wants it on the last day. It is the last thing that students do as sixth graders in the district, to have that clap out. It's a nice thing that we do, and they feel as if it's cheapened if we do it earlier. Additionally, I don't like the message it sends necessarily, that we're really going to end school on Friday, and now Monday becomes this kind of vestigial appendage that doesn't have any function. So basically, people come to school because of that. So I also want to encourage people to come to school for the full 180 days. There's one other point to this. That was always on the calendar as a possible school day, I think in some cases there was an element of, well, it's either maybe it won't happen, right? Well, maybe it did. So I addressed one parent who did reach out to me as well, where I kind of feel bad for that student who may potentially miss that day. I encouraged that parent that no one is going to tell families how to welcome their students out of school on Friday. If a parent wants to find some way to make it special for their child leaving school on Friday on the sidewalk, I pretty much have nothing to say about that. So I think that if there are individual families who are up against a flight or a cruise, or grandma's coming, or hey, their student just doesn't want to come to school on Monday, which, that's the prerogative of a parent to keep their child home whenever they like. It would be an absence, but for those conditions, I would encourage those families to do something special for their child on Friday.
Any other questions, comments? No? All right, roll call, please, on E1 only.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias? No. Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on E1 only.
Great. Can I have a motion for items E2 and 3, please?
Move to approve items E2 and 3 as stated. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
E2 and E3 carries as stated.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for F3, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on F3.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for G24, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
And President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on G24.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for H22, please?
Move to approve item H22 as stated.
Any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on H22.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for I1, please?
Motion. As stated.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on I1.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for J11, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bryan?
Yes.
Ms. D'Alessandro?
Yes.
Mr. Frias?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sim?
Yes.
President Langley?
Yes.
Motion carries on J11.
Thank you. I don't have any old business. Is there any new business anybody wants to introduce?
I just have two things I wanted to bring up. One, I was able to attend the art show last week at Roosevelt, and Mr. Tardy did such a great job, and the students were so excited to see all of their work out there. It's so exciting. They really take such pride in their stuff, you know, when they see it out there and people are looking. So that was a really nice event. I just want to thank her for that. And next week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I wanted to take a second to appreciate all of our teachers we have here. Thank you for all that you do for this district.
Thank you. All right, seeing as how there are no comments, we're going to move into a second executive session to discuss a contractual matter, and no action will be taken, and then we'll adjourn the meeting after that. Can I get a motion to move into closed session, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.